Welcome to 5 a.m. Tuesday, where we unlock the power of choice to shape and transform your life. One Tuesday at a time. Hi, I'm Brenda, mindset author, speaker and coach, and your host. Joining me each week are remarkable guests who will shine a light on the phenomenon of choice. We'll discuss everyday topics with a fresh perspective, explore the neuroscience of decision-making, and look at how to navigate the endless options you face every day. Whether you hear something new or you get a timely reminder of what you already know, I believe there is no mistake you are here. Let us inspire you to choose consciously, choose wisely, and most importantly, to choose for you. Thanks for joining me on 5 a.m. Tuesday. Before I start today, I'd love you to subscribe, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you are. It'll just help keep our channel alive. Today, I'm going to delve into how to master your time by understanding one of our biggest daily challenges, distractions. We'll have a look at how they impact our mental health and capacity to make better choices, to make empowered choices. And whether it's that ping of your mobile phone, the next door neighbor's dog, or your own racing thoughts, distractions have become a rather big part of our lives. But what happens when they stop being mere annoyances and start impacting your mental well-being, your productivity? Let's explore this together. First, understanding distractions. They are more than just minor interruptions. According to researchers at the University of California, and this is a big one, we spend about 23 minutes trying to get back to our focus after each distraction. Now, considering the number of distractions we encounter in any given day, this time really adds up. It'll significantly hamper your productivity. But the problem runs deeper. You know, I'm a fan of neuroscience, and neuroscientists explain that distractions have a biological basis. Every time we succumb to distraction, our brain rewards us with dopamine. It's a neurotransmitter linked to pleasure. I'm sure you've heard of it. And the biochemical response can actually become quite addictive, which of course encourages us to repeat the behavior. How many times do you think you pick up your mobile phone and check for notifications? I dare to count them for a whole day. But I suspect you don't need to. Even when we turn notifications off, some days we still check them, right? A study conducted by Microsoft, and this is another interesting one, reports that prolonged exposure to frequent interruptions at work can lead to a 40% drop in productivity. But even bigger than that, it can lead to a 50% increase in stress and fatigue. 50%. That is a lot of extra stress and a lot of tiredness. The real shocker, though, is that about 44% of distractions are internally generated. And what I mean by that is they're coming from your internal dialogues, your thoughts. Understanding the brain science behind distractions can help us find better ways of dealing with them. So when we get distracted, it is not just random. It's got a lot to do with how your brain works. Your brain has different parts that help you focus and pay attention to what's important. Now, sometimes these parts have to compete with those things that grab your attention, like the notification from your phone. And there are two kinds of attention. In fact, your brain has two main systems to manage attention. The first one helps you stay focused on what you choose. So that's like when you're doing a project or you're reading a book. And that system is controlled by the part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex. So that's the more executive function in your brain, helps with problem solving and focus. The second system reacts to things happening around us, like sudden noises or someone walking by or your phone ringing. This system can pull your attention away from what you are doing. Then remember I mentioned dopamine, the chemical in your brain that helps you feel pleasure. That is released when you stop what you're doing and check your phone because it beeped. And yes, you'll feel good momentarily, but it can also make you want to keep getting distracted. How crazy is that? Your brain gives you a reward for losing focus. What do you think is the most natural thing then for human beings to do with that? Chase more feel good, right? It's so normal. And nowadays, with all our gadgets and online content, our brain can get overwhelmed. There is a huge amount of online people trying to catch you with a hook, to catch you with that headline. But then we get overwhelmed. So this is called cognitive overload. And when this happens, your brain struggles to keep up with everything and it makes it harder to focus, let alone, when your phone pings or your doorbell rings, it's harder to focus anyway. And studies show that with all of these distractions or trying to do too many things at once, the age-old multitasking, we find it harder to not only achieve goals, but even to set them. We find it harder to even think of the goals we want to set. So it makes sense to find practical ways to improve our focus. And we can do exercises that strengthen our brain's ability to focus, like memory games or tasks that require close attention. Maybe crosswords or learning something new. Even that old-time card game where you try to recall where a pair of matching cards is and turn them over. Good old memory. Play that with your kids. Play it with your grandkids. Also, practices like mindfulness or meditation can help train our brain to be calm and less reactive to distractions. So let's expand just a tiny bit. I'll keep it brief. Don't want to keep you distracted for too long. But you can do things like set clear boundaries. Now, we all know about setting boundaries in our relationships, in our lives, but what about with what we're looking at? So use apps to schedule specific times for checking your emails, for checking your social media. There's tools like Inbox Pause that can hold your emails until predetermined times. It really will help you manage your inbox without constant interruptions. And we can also set do not disturb on our phones, on our computers. We can do that too. We can tailor our notifications. Another thing you can do is create a focused environment. So enhance your workspace. Get rid of the clutter. Clutter will distract you. It will remind you of all those things you haven't done yet. But also, when we use ergonomic furniture, an ergonomic keyboard, we're comfortable, our posture is conducive to focus. We actually will not be distracted by being uncomfortable. It's a thing. So consider the layout of your office, the position of your desk, and another one, try and keep it away from high traffic windows so that you're not looking up when people walk by. We do that. We actually do that. Another thing you can do is mindfulness and meditation. And we've talked about this a lot on this podcast. So incorporate some structured mindfulness exercises into your daily routine. There's many apps like Headspace and Calm that offer guided sessions, and they'll help you train your brain to focus and to reduce that internal noise. Or simply stop and count your breath, your in breaths, your out breaths for a while. Better still, go back to last week's podcast and listen to Kylie Rook. Incredible information about breath work. Now, one more is around prioritizing sleep. And again, we've talked about that on this podcast because good sleep hygiene is essential for cognitive function, for focus. Avoid screens at least an hour before bed. Keep a regular sleep schedule. Create a restful environment to improve your sleep quality. And there'll be many more techniques. And I'd like to say, if you have some that you've used, if you have other techniques, I'd love you to share them in the comments. for our audience because there are so many we can choose from. Let us know how you choose to minimize your distractions. What methods have worked for you? And one more thing, actually, because it's completely relevant. While we're talking about distractions, it's a chance to touch on the topic of time management. Mastering time management not only helps mitigate distractions, but it also amplifies your productivity, which, of course, will help you reduce stress, which is a win-win. And, there's surveys, a recent one by the American Management Association said that effective time management will lead to a 30% reduction in stress for the average worker. And it's within your control just by making healthier choices on how to spend your time. And the key really is prioritization. Start your day by identifying 2 or 3 most critical tasks that will have the most significant impact, positive impact on your day, on your productivity. Distinguish between what's urgent and what's not important. And try techniques like the Pomodoro technique. Now, that's a technique where you work in focused bursts followed by short breaks. And if we choose to refine how we manage our time like this, we can reclaim some control back of our day. We can make sure we spend our energy on tasks that align with our goals. And remember, every day is a choice. By choosing to manage our distractions, choosing where we spend our time, we're not just enhancing our productivity. We are actually doing something to improve our mental health, to improve our quality of life. So here's to making choices that matter. Thanks for joining me today. And remember, I'd love you to subscribe to our podcast, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you are, because next week we're talking neuroscience with a dynamic business owner who shares exceptional tips on investing in your own personal growth. Be sure to check it out. Bye for now. And to sign off, I hope you've been inspired to choose consciously, choose wisely, and most importantly, choose you. See you next week.